one was hurt and a building had only minor damage after a fire in Brewer yesterday.
The positive outcome is thanks to 2 bystanders who jumped into action. I spoke with those involved to learn more.
We were all inside. We were just, doing our job. 2 customers were eating ice cream out in our little area. We have a whole bunch of picnic tables and everything. The lady came to the window and she was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know your building's on fire."
Around 5 o'clock Sunday evening, the outside of the building that houses Brewer Nutrition caught fire. Employee Natalie Gibson says first, she and her boss made sure their customers, as well as the people living in the apartment upstairs, all got out. Then they called 911.
It took about 5-ish minutes for the fire department, so luckily the other guys were here to help.
The scene went from this to this.
Upon arrival, they did not see anything showing.
In a matter of minutes, thanks to 2 Good Samaritans who sprang into action. Their identities were a mystery. They left before anyone could catch their names, but one did reveal a clue.
He was a firefighter from one of the departments, and he had a fire extinguisher in his truck, and he immediately was starting spraying the building down.
All the Brewer Fire Department knew was that he was from Brunswick Fire. A couple of phone calls from a nosy reporter later, and voila.
I was driving over the bridge, and from the Bangor side, I noticed some brown smoke coming up from the area of Center Street.
Brownville native Al Slagle has 9 years of firefighting experience. Sunday, he happened to be in the right place at the right time to put that training to use.
Pulled over, grabbed my extinguisher, noticed that the fire was already as tall as the second floor, so probably about 10 feet high. Hit it from the side of the fence close to the Center Street, knocked it down. About that time, a gentleman, I believe his name was Matt, came around the other side of the building, grabbed the hose and started hitting some of the hot spots.
If he did not intervene, or that firefighter did not intervene, that situation would have been much, much worse.
If you could say something to the 2 men who jumped in to help, what would you say to them?
Yeah, I would definitely give them a big thank you.
Slagle says it's all in a day's work. He wants to use his time in the spotlight to spread an important message about safety.
Learn CPR, learn how to use an extinguisher, and learn how to use a tourniquet. And those 3 things, you never know when they'll come in handy.
Officials say it's likely a cigarette butt started the fire.